Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And wow, this is just so typical of doublespeak in South Africa. First off, we're talking about the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape. Used to be a fantastic university. Now, not so much. And I've got a report that I'm going to read to you in a second, but before I do, this is a university where two cows wandered into the grounds of the University of Fort Hare, and some of the students took to actually cutting meat off the cows while they were still alive, from the thighs and things like that. Absolutely disgusting. I reported on this several months ago, and the University of Fort Hare is now under basically investigation. But you wouldn't think so if you read the Vice-Chancellor's message. So let's just start off with that. And I'll just read the first paragraph. And if you want to read more, I'll put the link down below. This kind of shows you how out of touch the people, the black economic empowerment people, are with reality. This is what the Vice-Chancellor says. This is going to be a highly productive year. He's talking about 2019 at the University of Fort Hare. In many ways, we are a university undergoing construction in the literal as well as the figurative sense. We will be working towards realizing our aspirations as set out in our strategic plan, putting up bricks and mortar structures, but also crafting institutions, practices, and values to structure and support us on our journey. Okay, now, doesn't that sound absolutely wonderful? Well, I'll tell you the reality in a second. Foundational to this project of ours is improving the experience of our staff and students through improvements to the system, upgrades to our facilities, positive changes to the ways we interact with each other, and the cultivation of an ethos and culture of high expectations, ethical conduct, and mutual respect. Now, anyone can put this sort of crap on a page, which is what this Vice-Chancellor has done. I mean, really, it is so distant from the truth. It's like Earth to the moon. Anyway, I'll just read the rest of this first paragraph. We will be building on the excellent output of 2018, which, the many challenges notwithstanding, signals that we are a university that means business. Last year we graduated 153 PhDs. This is a remarkable achievement and a significant contribution to the National and Continental Skills Trust. Well, when you look at the actual standard of the PhDs that people get today, it's absolutely ridiculous. Now, let's get to the reality about the University of Fort Hare, because that's a whole lot of BS I've just read you, which the Vice-Chancellor wrote. Okay, here's the reality, okay? And this is hot off the press. This is hot off the press. What went wrong at the University of Fort Hare? Now, if you just listen to the Vice-Chancellor's opening statement, you'd think everything is just going amazingly well. Well, here's the reality. What went wrong at the University of Fort Hare? This is a probing question two seasoned academics, Professor Chris Brink and Luis Malamo, asked stakeholders, students, unions, staff, council, and its committees of the historic university. The two were appointed as independent assessors to get to the bottom of the institution's decline. Get that word? Decline. Their findings lifted a lid on what is happening within the corridors of Fort Hare. They also unraveled a myriad of factors leading to the eventual collapse of the university's council, whose mandate was to provide oversight and preserve its rich legacy. No mention of that in the Vice-Chancellor's report, was there? The assessors in their report published last Friday put this bluntly. The University of Fort Hare should be a beacon of transcending the inequalities of apartheid as an academic institution of excellence. Indeed, the motto of the university is Together in Excellence, and it is a tragedy that this at present only is a vision, not a reality. And that kind of mirrors what's happening around South Africa with all these racist ANC policies like black economic empowerment and broad-based black economic empowerment and affirmative action, and the way they are completely prejudicing against the white population in South Africa. And so this is basically just like a canary in the cage again. The damning 82-page report revealed for the first time how the university processes had collapsed and triggered the intervention by central government, first the appointment of Professor Loislo Ngonkza as the administrator in April, and later the roping in of Brink and Malamo. The dysfunction in the university structure due to factions, poor governance, and a lack of practicing basic managerial duties were laid bare in the report. It paints a dire state of affairs at Fort Hare, dating back more than a decade, and failure to resolve its challenges. Well, I didn't see that in the Vice-Chancellor's report, did you? And as I said, I'm going to link his report directly below this video so you can see how laughable it is. The assessors also found disturbing signs of a widespread belief that the university is a kind of cash cow which everyone is entitled to milk for personal benefit. That just mirrors what's going on everywhere else under this ANC government. However, they said there was a glimmer of hope, but recommended Higher Education Minister Blade Nzimandi's department to dedicate an oversight team to monitor its progress for 3 years after Nonka's departure, warning that failing to do so would pose a risk of Fort Hare collapsing. The report's executive summary sets out how the intervention began. A highly contested council meeting on April the 12th this year was the final straw that broke the camel's back. On the 12th of April, there was a meeting of 9 members out of possible 31 of the University Council, 4 employees, 2 students, the President of Convocation, the Chair of the Audit and the Risk Committee, and a new external member appointed by one of the local municipalities. They declared themselves duly constituted as a meeting of council, elected the new members as interim chairperson or council, and proceeded to take a number of decisions. One of the contested decisions taken was to suspend the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sakela Bulungu. The report also notes that after that meeting, several lawyers gave various conflicting opinions on the legality of the meeting. The report reads, "It is not our purpose to adjudicate on this question, since, in our view, on the question was superseded by the ministerial decision to intervene and suspend the council. The fuse," assessors said, was lit when Bulungu arrived in 2017. They said Fort Hare celebrated its centenary in 2016 under the outgoing Vice-Chancellor, Dr. Mvoyo Tom, and it had also experienced the stresses of the Fees Must Fall student campaign. Bulungu's appointment, assessors said, as well as the new national dispensation of fee-free education below a certain income threshold, brought an opportunity to make a new start and address the long-standing problems of the university. The report reads, "The expectation was conveyed to the incoming Vice-Chancellor at the time of his appointment. However, his efforts in this regard and the manner of conducting these efforts soon led to contestations with stakeholders, constituencies." The report reads, "This expectation was conveyed to the incoming Vice-Chancellor at the time of his appointment. However, his efforts in this regard and the manner of conducting these efforts soon led to contestations with stakeholders, constituencies such as the Student Political Organization, Organized Labour, and the Institutional Forum. Divisions, factions, fears, poor record keeping." In setting out their analysis of how consultations unfolded, the assessors said, in their view, the main source of the problem was a general disregard of a fundamental principle of governance. They said the role of the council member, whether internal or external, was to contribute to collective decision-making for the benefit of the university. The report says it was the disregard of this principle, whether deliberately or in ignorance, individually or in groups, that led to the necessity for ministerial intervention. Besides a high level of contestations, the assessors also discovered that there were other abnormalities, systematic administrative weaknesses, and an endemic culture of fear. Brink and Malama said they witnessed poor teaching facilities and inadequate student accommodation. We saw student rooms without an outside window and no ventilation. In an environment known as Students as Never Mind, we saw a standalone, dilapidated one-room structure which houses a student with a disability. The Alice and East London campuses, assessors said, were neglected, with broken-down cars standing there for years. The first signs of neglect were also visible at the Bishu campus. An ombudsman post, Brink and Malama recommended, should be created by the new council to safeguard staff and students against possible abuse of power. They did not recommend disciplinary action against Bulungu. However, they recommended that some appropriate support structures be put in place for the Vice-Chancellor to give those who are aggrieved with him some reassurance that the dictatorship of which he has been accused could not become a reality. In addition, they recommended a forensic investigation targeting the Supply Chain Management Office for contracts awarded or cancelled over the past 3 years. These included that of security costs related to the Vice-Chancellor, among others. Brink and Malama also called for the research incentive policy to be revisited. So there you go. The Vice-Chancellor's report, glowing report, and yet he is central to the investigation for the impending collapse for the University of Fort Hare. How can they put that crap up on the University of Fort Hare's website? Anyway, I'm going to put the Vice-Chancellor's message directly below this video so you can see the crap that he's written. Alright guys, please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. Ring the bell for the updates. Please like this video, please share this video, and above all, stay safe.